Welcome to Mindfully Integrative Podcast with your host, Dr. Demiris G. Mindfully Integrative is a podcast discussing ways toward mindfully incorporating integrative health into our lives. This podcast will have informative resources, fun topics, interviews, and discussions relatable for today with a true mindful perspective in a mind-body, holistic life approach.
So, hi, how are you? This is Demiris Maria Grossman, and I'm just going to kind of come on a quick call for my part 2 of natural appetite suppressants to help you lose weight, as opposed to medical weight loss medications. So, my first one is an herb called fenugreek, and it's in the bean kind of family. It can be grounded up. It's a plant, has a lot of fiber. And it's really good about blood regulation and cholesterol reduction and appetite control. So these are herbs and supplements or things in nature and natural that I recommend as opposed to just taking some medical weight loss medication. It has been shown through many studies as being very effective in can be in capsule form or eaten, and helps with side effects that are usually great for fiber and fullness. Another one that's called glucomen. It's another fiber intake kind of thing. Think about like the more you kind of close off that belly from extra eating, the better off you are going to feel. So here it helps with controlling your appetite. Again, a lot of that comes into losing weight, drinking and modifying your diet, and helps with decreasing the food intake. This is really good with water, and it comes into kind of like a viscous, very similar to like chia seeds. And when you put them in water, they become a viscous kind of jelly-like. And again, it helps with delaying the stomach emptying, just like medications would. But in this way, you're using food intake, and it's helpful. It's an option that people can use. It's not very common, but it also is helping with cholesterol reduction. It's called glucomen. And it's tolerated mostly pretty well for individuals, but recommended that they take food intake or about 1 gram a day. So, next one is an herb called for anti-diabetic purposes. I've talked about berberine, and then this one is called gemini, and it's for reducing the sugar in the mouth and the sugar cravings, and helps with the overall fasting found. Compared to those that didn't have that supplement, these individuals found that they were able to lose a little bit of body weight and fat absorption. Capsules are about 100 milligrams, give or take, and sometimes there's teas that are available. Another one that people may have heard of, it's called 5-HTP or Jafani Siblin folio. I'm not great with pronunciations, but basically this is a natural one, it's good, serotonin. So it's good for depression, anxiety, and relaxation, but it also helps with decreasing the carb intake and hunger within the body. So again, this is still kind of in that same time, like your gut. When your gut is happy, you're not eating as much, you're not craving, and you're not looking, and you're not just foraging for things. So but this one, you kind of have to watch out a little bit for. You want to make sure that you're eating or drinking water. But someone can have a tiny nausea, upsets. And it's not something that I want you to add in with an antidepressant without following the healthcare provider, because you just want to make sure that you're not over intaking and having a serotonin uptake, which can be quite dangerous. So someone you really want to make sure you're cautious with. This other herb is called Calluma fimbriata. Think of it as fimbriata, has a lot of fiber. You can take it for around 500 milligrams, helps with weight loss, appetite, and also with fiber-esque in the body. I haven't really given that one, but I've heard about it. Green tea extract, that's a pretty big one that most people have heard about, and it's shown to help with weight loss. And then again, that's a similar effect that you'd see in people that talk about phentermine into the medical contraves and medications of that nature. And it's helpful. It kind of has that caffeine high stimulant effect where it's not something you want to have all the time, but it will help decrease the appetite because you are kind of consuming a little bit more caffeine. And that's not recommended for those that don't need excess caffeine. But it does help with detoxifying and helping with the metabolism and burning fat. Conjugated or alpha-lipoic linoleic acid. This one helps in a few things, but it's very good for the natural fatty products, helping with cholesterol, weight loss, overall fat burning. Research has shown that helps with that fullness, that appetite suppression. And it's really good for cholesterol management. Recommended was around 6 grams total per day. And it can be good for a lot of that fat blocking. And another big one people have heard of, and they think that that's the go-to, is Carcina cambogia or Carcinin cambogia. I say it incorrectly, but basically this is a fruit with a high concentration of hydroxycitric acid. Helps with weight loss purposes. Again, it's that fat blocking, breaks up, decreases the weight, helps with serotonin levels, uptake. Again, when the gut is happy, you have more fiber, you kind of get it through, you're then more full, and then you're eating less. So it kind of goes in the brain and the gut. You have to always understand that they're together, so you don't have as much upset. And you want to eat this around 30 minutes before a meal, give or take. There's a really cool one called yerba mate. I like this one for energy, another one for boosting your metabolism, and it will be great in the decreasing appetite food. It has a GLP component in the sense of, again, helping with the appetite suppression, making you feel full. It helps regulate the leptin hormone, which is that hunger hormone. And, not the ghrelin, but the leptin, where it makes you feel full. Ghrelin is where you're feeling hungry and you want to eat more. It's a lot of the regulation. Everything kind of comes down to the hormones and regulating your appetite. And last one is actually coffee. When people talk about their intermittent fasting, and I talk about fasting, I try to do at least 10 hours of fasting for obesity chains, because your body does not need food all the time, every single minute. If you could do at least 10 hours a day, that would be great. 16 hours is not always recommended for everyone. I'll talk about intermittent fasting in another time, but 16 hours, maybe once a week, a 24-hour a month, and, something of that nature. But every day, if you can do 10 hours of fasting, meaning that nighttime eating, really kind of avoiding it, or waking up early and eating, that is where those extra calories and those hormones just lie. So that's usually my big ones. Coffee people will take, or the green tea-esque things, because that is very helpful in appetite suppression. If you have any other questions for me, I know this one was a quick podcast, but I kind of wanted to do a part 2 in the series of appetite suppressions and things that we can do for ourselves without just taking medicine. I'm integrative, so I'm a very big believer on approaches in integrative health and how we can have a whole way of thinking. So thanks again. If you have any questions, reach out anytime, and I'm here to help you be mindful ways each and every day. Thanks again. Thank you for listening to the Mindfully Integrative Show with Dr. Demiris Maria Grossman, family nurse practitioner. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not the substitute for professional medical advice, diagnose, or treat. Always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your healthcare routine. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you enjoyed our show, please support us by leaving a mindful review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite streaming platform. Interested in being a guest or more information? Email us at info@mindfullyintegrative.com. For resources mentioned in the show, visit our website at www.mindfullyintegrative.com. You can also connect mindfully with Dr. Demiris on her social media links found on the site. May your strength and peace guide you to find a mindful way every day. Namaste.